Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Tali, so much for setting us up to begin Shabbat and celebrate. It is wonderful Shabbat to be together to celebrate the earth and all its fullness in addition to Shabbat. Really, every Shabbat that we gather, we are in a way celebrating the earth and all its fullness. But tonight, of course, we kind of are celebrating our Earth Day, our Green Shabbat. If you listen to my Torahgram this morning, I talked a little bit about how long before there was any Earth Day, or long before there was anything about climate change, or long before there was anything about anything, the Torah spoke to the sacred relationship between human beings and the earth. And that has been a Jewish value since the first day of Judaism, as it were. And it is a joy to be able to now have this embraced by hopefully all the citizens of the world. And I know that Rabbi Cantor Wissett has some absolutely inspirational and moving, appropriate music to help get us ready to rock and roll and enjoy Shabbat. So I'll kick it over to her.
Let the heavens rejoice, the earth exult, let the sea and all within it thunder, the fields and everything in them exult, for then shall all the trees of the forest shout with joy. That is what we are about to be singing. But first, before we sing any of the Hebrew words, I need you to do something with me. Everybody say the words, ay, ay, ay.
Ay, ay, ay.
Yes. Ay, 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 ay. Say that. Good. The head roll is really important. I need to see. Let's see. Let me put it so I can see everybody. Ay, 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 ay. Everybody, let's see your head roll. Ay, 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 ay. I just put in the chat the words of this song, which are Ya'aloz Sadai. Try that with me. Ya'aloz Sadai. Vechol Asherbo. Vechol Asherbo. Ya'aloz Sadai. Again. Ya'aloz Sadai. Get ready. Ay, 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 ay. Okay? And then the second lyrics go like this. Az Yeranenu. Try that. Az Yeranenu. Kol Atzei Ya'ar. Kol Atzei Ya'ar. Those are the whole words of the whole thing. They repeat a lot of times. It's super fun. Even if you fail to sing the words perfectly, you've got the intention in your heart and in your mind, and the ay, ay, ay is going to be just fantastic. So sing with me. Oops. There we go. אשר בו יעלו שדי. Ay, 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 ay. Thank you, Jacob Wissett. We're going to continue on page 134, these Psalms that we use to prepare ourselves to welcome in Shabbat. The Kabbalat Shabbat Psalms are so full of words that talk about our earth and the entire earth rejoicing at this moment of Shabbat. We have again, let the sea and all within it thunder, let the world and all its inhabitants, let the rivers clap their hands, the mountains sing joyously together at the presence of Adonai. For God is coming to rule the earth. God will rule the world justly and its peoples with equity. We're going to join together on Shamroo Ladonai on page 134. Page 138. Everybody sing with me, Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Pere Shabbat, Nekabela. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Pere Shabbat, Nekabela. שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סומסת במחשבה תחילה לחטאתי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לחטאתי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Last verse, please rise. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
Rabbi Cantor Wissett, I have a question for you.
Rabbi Aronson, I might have an answer. I might have another question. You never know.
I don't know that you do, but Ya'alo's Sadai is a great song. I love that song. But do you think there's any relationship between Sadai and Shaddai?
I actually have thought about that. I think we should.
By the way, this isn't rehearsed. We didn't rehearse this.
No, but the person that we should spotlight is Tali Tadmor. Tali, do you think that there is a relationship between, can you spotlight Tali? Between Sadai and Shaddai?
Yes, I do. I think sometimes it's the dot changes on the sheet.
Hold it. Let's explain to everybody what the words mean. So Sadai Sadeh is field. Sadai is the plural. Sadai is fields. Shaddai is God. As a matter of fact, many of you may have on a mezuzah in your house a shin, and that stands for Shaddai, for God. It's another name for God. Go ahead, Tali, continue.
Oh, I'm sorry. I understand your question now. No, I don't think they're related. I think Shaddai, as in God, is what do you call it, where each letter stands for a word?
An abbreviation?
An acronym?
Acronym?
Yes. So Shaddai is Shomer Daltot Israel, the keeper of the doors of Israel. And then Sadeh is a field. I don't know. I wouldn't think that they're related, but maybe.
You don't think that there's a relationship? I mean, God, Shaddai is of course a bit of an acronym, but you don't think there's some sort of relationship?
Maybe we can look that up.
Like Shaddayim, right? So the idea of something that's life-giving. Shaddai, El Shaddai is a name for God. And I've always thought that maybe there was something to do with this idea that there's a feminine trait of God in there somewhere, and that this Shaddai is actually a life-giving thing. And the fields, Sadai, are actually a life-giving thing too. So, I don't feel like in Hebrew there are accidents. So even if the words aren't like technically related in their root, maybe there's something to do with, this green Shabbat and Earth Day that might call for us to be singing about the life-giving properties of our earth.
I agree. And of course, Shaddai, in addition to being the acronym, as I says on the mezuzah, but it also serves the purpose of El Shaddai, which is another name for God. And I agree with you, Rabbi Cantor Wissett, that I think that there has to be some sort of connection when given the closeness of the Torah. I mean, where does the Torah begin? The very first scene of the Torah is in the Garden of Eden, right? The second scene of the Torah is in the Garden of Eden after creation, right? So it seems like it makes some sort of sense. I don't know. So I've always felt that we Jews in 2021 should be more connected to the earth than we are, because I think it's such we don't pay enough attention anymore to how Judaism is so deeply intertwined with stewardship of the earth, because I really believe that it is so much. And of course, one of those things, Rabbi Cantor-Wissit, and I'm going to just take myself away, is we bring light to the world through many different ways, and the earth is a source of that light in many ways. And it's a great segue to think about how we light the candles for Shabbat. I also want to say before we do that, Rabbi Wissit, that I want everyone to know that Rabbi Rosenstein is having, unfortunately, a difficult time with his internet. He will be somehow, by hook or by crook, on for the Devar Torah, but at the moment he's been plagued with a kind of curse of bad internet lately. But it shouldn't prevent us from lighting the candles.
Well, we're thinking about him and hope he'll be able to pop on in a little bit. In the meantime, I also want to call to mind the Liang family, because Amanda is becoming bat mitzvah tomorrow, and the Manolos family, because Madeline is becoming bat mitzvah tomorrow. And as it turns out, we usually call forward all of those students who are just before the age of bar and bat mitzvah, and this would be their last Shabbat to rush toward the candles and light those candles. So Amanda and Madeline, I hope that that you are lighting the Shabbat candles at home there now, and we're thinking about you. Let's join together in the candle blessing. Let's sing it all together. Had the most amazing conversation this past week with some people who were asking me why we sing Lila Lai so many times in the service. And the reason that we do it is because we want everybody to know and to be empowered to sing and participate, whether you speak Hebrew, whether you understand Hebrew, whether the Hebrew is comfortable for you, whether you know all the words. The Lilais are a way in. So if the Lilais are not your bag and not something that you really want to be singing, when you are singing them, think about your intention for this prayer. Think about what they mean to you. One of the most beautiful and inspiring things about nigunim, songs without words, is that they can mean whatever it is you need them to mean at that moment. So take this time that we sing Lila Lai or Yababai or Nai Nai, any of those things, to fill those syllables with your personal prayer. And maybe that will change your opinion of that. And if you are one of those people who loves to sing Lila Lai because you know that it empowers you to open up your mouth and sing, do that. Sing that with us. We are doing Baruch Hu on page 146 with a bunch of Lila Lais to start. So please rise, everyone, for Baruch Hu. Yalla Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? What does it mean for you to get ready to say these words? I'm ready to pray. Page 152. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Page 154. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha ubechol nafshecha ubechol meodecha vehayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha veshinantam levanecha vedibarta bam beshivtecha beveitecha uvlechtecha vaderech uvshochbecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha vehayu letotafot bein einecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai vitem kedoshim leloechem ani Adonai Eloechem asher otzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liod lachem Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem emet.
Shabbat Shalom! Please join me in the Micha Mocha. Yay, Mi kamoch haneder b'kodesh, nora tehillah seifelen, nora tehillah seifelen. Malechutecha ra'u vanecha, ukei hayam nivnei Moshe Miriam, Zeilianu ve'amru, Zeilianu ve'ameru, Adonai imlo le'olam bad, Adonai imlo le'olam bad. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 yai lai 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 lai.
Thank you, Emma. That's so beautiful. We're glad always to have you join us for our service. In just a few moments, our service will continue with the singing of the Shamroo. The Shamroo teaches us that as Jews, we have kept Shabbat through the ages, and in every generation, Shabbat has kept the Jews. It continues that for in 6 days, Adonai made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day, God ceased from work and was refreshed. We learn when we read about the creation of the world at the beginning of Genesis that the creation story ends with the people of the world being given by God the power to take care of the world and the power to destroy it. But why? Why is the last thing God does before resting the creation of the world, the creation of human beings? Why does the creation story have human beings created last? One answer is that we're created last because it is our role, the story teaches, to be God's partners in taking care of the world. The gopher, the mountain lion, the daffodil, and the avocado tree can't do that. They can't take care of the world, but we can. We have the power to destroy it, but it's also in our power to take care of the world and to protect it. So we can, in a sense, act like God and protect the world, taking care of the earth and the creatures in it. Or we can act recklessly and hasten their destruction. Each of us, if only for this hour, have chosen to imitate God, to not work, to not create anew, but to stop and to appreciate God's creations and to celebrate Shabbat. We continue with the Shamroo on page 164.
Shamroo b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, la'asod et HaShabbat, ledorotam berit olam. V'shamroo b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, la'asod et HaShabbat, ledorotam berit olam. Shed yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. V'shamroo b'nei Yisrael et hashabbat, la'asod et hashabbat, ledorotam berit olam. Shamroo b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל לא תהיה לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. Adonai sfatai tiftach, Adonai sfatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai
in everything there is beauty, a hint of love, a form of grace, though it may be hard to see, even harder to believe. Everything in nature has its place, and in everything there is wonder, a mystery to be undone, new discoveries to find, simple pleasures redefined, all things old and new beneath the sun. Have you ever chased the wind? Can you tell where it will go or where it's been? If you could see the earth through its eyes, do you think that it would come as a surprise? That in everything there is music, a melody, a bit of song, though it may not meet your ear. If you tune your heart to hear, you will recognize and sing along the song that nature sings. You will recognize and sing along the song that nature sings.
So many beautiful songs tonight. Such incredible singers that we have in our presence. I want to turn to something that doesn't require anything special except being born. And so I'm going to invite anyone who has a birthday this week or last week or next week to put it in the chat and share your birthday with us. Come on, guys, we're not going to match our anniversary thing from last week where we had no anniversaries in the month of April. There we go. Marcia Novak, Bruce Ross, happy birthday to both of you. So nice to see you. Murray, you're turning 50. Oh, Jay's turning 50. Arthur Jablon, McKenna Silver, Arthur and Evelyn, not together. Lynn Ross, this Wednesday, got 2 in the week. So exciting. Any other birthdays? Is there any birthdays on Facebook that are showing up to any of my clergy colleagues? Seeing none, I just want to take this opportunity to wish you all a happy birthday, to tell you that we are thrilled that you are spending part of your birthday week with us, that you are part of this community and this congregation. We are honored and blessed by your presence. May you have good health and long life, having all the blessings that you want in that life until, as our tradition says, to 120. So everybody's got a long way to go. May you have long, healthy, and juniper-less happy birthday. And to everybody, happy, happy birthday. At this moment, our thoughts turn to those people who we love, who are in need of a blessing, in need of strength, in need of support, in need of healing. And so we ask that while I'm reading the list of names been submitted to the temple, that if you have names of your own, of people in your hearts, in your thoughts, in need of blessing, that you type them into the chat now. As we think of Jeffrey Yusim, Lily Schreier, Ellie Gutman, Panina Kaim, Ahuva Sabeh, Eva Hain, Marcia Gutman, Irma Greenspan, Sarah Alvarado, Verna Liss, Bruce Carter, Miley Olson, Noreen Vanderhoeven, Kathy Pecora, Marilyn Seidelman, Lorraine Friedman, Diana Morgenstern, Stacy Vetrovic, Tom Schwarzkopf, Rivka Batsara Rachel, Andrew Haas, Reuven Ben Baruch Leib Elka, Michelle Mortkoff, Josephine Berger, Emily McManus, Yosef Shosham, Marilyn Spatz, Sharon Pragerson, Billy Adler, Jareen Muskowski, Julian Goldsmith, Donna Collin, Debbie Alberts, Heidi Adler, Barry Scher, Emily Owen, Yehuda Jablon, and Avram Ben Baruch Bandit. As we turn to page 371 and join together for the Misha Berach.
Ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishe Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. As Rabbi Aronson alluded to earlier, I'm coming to you live from the power of my mobile hotspot. So if things go a little wonky, you'll understand. I want to talk to you a little bit about this Green Shabbat, a little bit about our two creation stories. And I know my colleagues have been alluding to creation and the different ways they intersect with and what we can learn about the human relationship with our environment. I want to talk to you and remind us all that there are in fact two different creation stories that we find in our text. And of course, it's woven together very nicely. And we like to tell, there was the first day and the second day, and then somehow or another, Adam and Eve sort of show up in there. But in fact, those two stories are wholly different. There are textual inconsistencies, and they focus on different things. The names for God are different, right? So we've got two different traditions talking about how God created the world. Now, that's totally okay. The rabbis try to do their best to harmonize them and say that no, in fact, they are one story. But we, as moderns, we can understand that our ancient stories are trying to teach us two different lessons by talking about the same event in time. So let's take a look at the two of them. The first one, in the beginning, right? God created the heavens and the earth, right? Day 1, day 2, day 3, right? Day 1, heavens and earth. Day 2 was separating the waters. Day 3 was all of the lights, and so on and so forth. And only right on the 6th day, at the end of the day, God created humans. And on the 7th day was Shabbat, right? That is a top level understanding of creation. It is day by day. They're giving us just the facts, right? It's dispassionate. It's functional, right? It's just telling us what we need to know. But the second creation story is entirely different. And it speaks to us in the language of relationships. God is really interested in finding a helpmate for the first human that he created. First, placing Adam in the garden, and then as a way of giving him friends and company, right? Bringing him all the animals. And then when that turns out not to be a helpmate that is, or a partner that is at his level, then God creates Eve. And the two partners go on together in the garden in relationship with God, in relationship to each other, in relationship to the snake that ends up leading them astray. Okay, and we know how that story goes. Our teacher, Harav Yosef Soloveitchik, writes in The Lonely Man of Faith, he writes that these two different stories, the dispassionate, functional one, and the one all about relationships and intimacy, represent what it means to talk about two different Adams. Two different Adams, two different humans. And that's not to say that there are two different types of humans that go out through the world, but in fact, two different sets of impulses inside each human being. And it's my understanding that those two different impulses have an impact on the way that we actually interact with our environment. Let's talk about the first one. Adam HaRishon, the first human. This is the human who was created in the image of God, and through that vaunted position of creative potential and power, the human is concerned with the world in its functionality. How to better the human position in its environment by using our brain, our cognition, to determine how the world works and how to exploit it. The second Adam comes looking at the world very differently. This is the human who reached creative potential through the knowledge of good and evil, a knowledge that, while godlike, did come at some cost. This is the Adam for whom God created the world, the Adam of relationships, of mistakes, of learning, and of experience. So we have two Adams deep within us, the one that goes out and looks for the best angle, the cynical one that tries to find the best way to take advantage of the world around them, whereas the other one is concerned with relationships and experience. And we see this tension play out in the mandate for how God tells us that a human should relate to our environment. Our first archetype hears this commandment. God blessed them, and God said to them, Pir'u orvu, be fertile and increase, umil'u et haaretz, and fill the earth, v'kivshuha, and master the earth. Rule over the fish of the sea, the birds of the sky, and all the living things that creep on earth will be in your dominion. That's the first Adam, the Adam of control, of functionalism. And by contrast, here's the instruction that God gives to the second Adam, the second human archetype. Vayikach Adonai Elohim et ha'adam vayanichehu v'gan Eden la'ovda u'l'shomra. The Eternal took the man and placed him in the Garden of Eden to till and to tend it. Now, those are functional words, till and tend. But in fact, la'ovda u'l'shomra means to serve the land, to guard the land, to have responsibility over it, a sense of relationship with the land rather than mastery over the land. And so, friends, this gives us that sense of values tension that we all know about, centering around what is the human responsibility to earth, and by extension, to its creator. The earth, on the one hand, was given to us to master. So, by all rights, we should be able to do exactly as we please to the earth. And on the other hand, we were given the earth to protect and to serve, to till and to tend. And so there's a requirement there that we safeguard that earth. We see that same values tension play out when it comes to how do we think about, in the green movement, so to speak. Right? So when we think about the earth, there's one major way of thinking about our consumption that says we have a responsibility to cut back on our consumption, to stem the tide of climate change. And that perhaps is a second paradigm answer to say, you know what? Okay, we have this responsibility, this paradigm, we're supposed to take care of the earth. Maybe we've gone beyond our means, and now we need to cut back. Now we need to pare down what we are doing to live within our means. That's one hand. On the other hand, there's a completely legitimate form of thinking that says there's no way that human beings are going to be able to cut back on our consumption. We are just growing too much, too quickly as a species. The cat is out of the bag. So we need to find another way to be stewards of the earth, and that's going to be through the paradigm of Adam Rishon, the first Adam, through the power of cognition and of smarts. These people say technology will be our savior. Not to say we should cut back on consumption, but we will find through human ingenuity new ways to sustain our habits that would be impossible to curb given our human nature, whether that's through solar power or through wind or other alternative forms of energy, or as some futurists and technologists, some among them like Elon Musk, say, maybe the answer is among the stars. Maybe it means moving to Mars as a way of taking care of the environment that we live in. Now, there are both archetypes of humanity are present among us, and there's no value judgment on which is better, as long as the impulse towards mastery over the earth doesn't lead to wanton destruction of the earth. Here we find hints of Maimonides' advice to take the middle path. Through an instruction of this week's Torah portion, we read in Leviticus 19, verse 23, in the midst of the holiness code of Kedoshim, how to be holy. When you enter the land and plant any tree for food, you shall regard its food as forbidden. 3 years it shall be forbidden to you, not to be eaten. In the 4th year, all its fruit shall be set aside as a gift of thanksgiving for God, and only in the 5th year can you use its fruit, that its yield to you may be increased. I am the eternal your God. This set of verses hints to that middle way. It acknowledges the fact that, like Adam Rishon, the first Adam, we're going to take a functional view on the world and say, listen, when I go somewhere, I'm going to plant trees because I need to eat, right? Nothing's going to stop me from tending the soil. I'm going to plant and I'm going to eat, and I'm going to want to take advantage of the fruit and have it, as much of it as quickly as possible, both to eat and consume and also perhaps to sell, right? That is completely natural. But the Torah gives us some guardrails to say, but if you harvest too quickly, you might actually harm the plant. So you're going to wait 3 years. You're not going to touch any fruit that happens to come off the plant. And then you're going to wait one more, because you should always remember who's the one responsible for making sure you have this bounty. Always remember that it's God at the center who is providing that bounty for all of us. And then only in the 5th year can you take from the produce. I think this is the Torah's way of reminding us that we can both be the kinds of people that want to take mastery over the world, to plant as much as we can, to reap and sow as much as we can, while also reminding us that we can be in relationship to that land and to the one who created it, to God who provides all of that bounty. We can find that sense of the middle ground when it comes to how we treat the world around us. I'll end with a warning from the rabbis, a warning that I'm sure all of you know, but it bears repeating. When the Holy One of blessing created the first human, God took the human and led it around to all the trees in the Garden of Eden and said, look at my works, how beautiful, how praiseworthy they are. And all that I have created, it was for you that I created it. Pay attention that you do not corrupt and destroy my world. For if you corrupt it, there is no one to repair it after you. Take heed those words, friends, the ancient words of the rabbis and the ones we all know from looking at the world around us. Let us find a way to live in harmony and peace, using our brains, our sense of mastery over the world, and our sense of protection over the world as we move forward this Green Shabbat into a place where we can truly find ourselves in harmony with the world that sustains us. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Rabbi Rosenstein, for that. Beautiful words. Glad you made it. I know it was not easy. You faced down technology and you won. So we appreciate you sharing and being with us. We'd like to invite Tracy Poirier to please come forward and offer some good words on behalf of our Board of Trustees.
Okay, hello everybody. I wanted to just make a few announcements, and of course to always thank our wonderful clergy for their wonderful words, and Tali for her beautiful music as usual, and also Jacob Wissett and Emma Aronson for extra special musical treats for us. It was great. Thank you so much. So for the announcements, another mazel tov to our to Amanda and Madeline, who for their benot mitzvot tomorrow. So that's wonderful. Mazel tov to both of you. Today we get our e-blast every Friday, and I hope that you all read it. Couple of things. This coming Sunday at 4, the Interfaith Solidarity Network is having an interfaith service celebrating Earth Day. So since many of us haven't been able to celebrate Earth Day in the ways we normally do, this might be a really nice way to celebrate it. RSVP, you can do that in today's e-blast, and you'll get a Zoom link. So consider that this Sunday at 4 p.m. Reminder, Hope of the Valley, the sack lunches every 2 weeks. It's a really easy thing to do. Every other Monday, contact Ellen Opel. If you don't know the drill, you'd like to start that for the first time. TJ Village always has something going on, so I encourage you to check that out. Also, upcoming, something big, our congregational meeting on May 12th. That's a Wednesday night, 7 p.m. via Zoom. We do what we normally do, which will be approving our slate of officers for the upcoming year and approving the budget. Please attend. It is very important and interesting. They'll be talking about updates, or just kind of talking about what happened last year and what we can look for the coming year. So again, it's interesting stuff, and I hope everybody will attend. The Zoom link, I think you can register for it and get the Zoom link in today's e-blast. Also, the day after that, Thursday, the 13th, Brotherhood is hosting a very interesting, entertaining evening. It's trivia night, and there will be more information on how to register. I don't think we have the link yet, but there will be audio and video rounds, and it's hosted by Trivia Galaxy. It must be some trivia company that does this, so I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. So if you're a trivia buff like I am, come join us Thursday, May 13th. And then Mitzvah Day is coming up on the 23rd. You're going to be hearing much more about that, May 23rd. And anyway, it's going to provide, I hope everybody joins Mitzvah Day and does some type of a project. It's going to be great. You're going to be hearing more about it. And you could go to the Temple website and find out all the different projects that are being offered to do a little something, a little mitzvah. So I hope you'll join us on May 23rd. Please put it on your calendar. And I think that's about it. And thank you, and Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Thank you, Tracy. And please, everyone, heed Tracy's words. Lots of amazing things coming up, and we hope you'll partake in them. It's now our thoughts turn to those who we've loved, who've added so much to our lives and who are no longer with us. We think of those people for whom we are observing Shloshim. And while I'm doing this, I invite you to put in names of your loved ones into the chat. But we think of Anita Kaiserman, Harriet Walther, Harriet Cohen, Ron Goldsmith, Benny Lerman, Irv Bond, Jean Rose, and Ethel Yablon. And in addition, we think of those people who our community lovingly remembers. May their memories be for a blessing. Kay Citron, Martin Sidney Denoff, Nancy Eisenstadt, Lee J. Golden, Mary Rose Gorlin, Harry Herstick, Albert Hoffman, Benjamin S. Kane, Harry A. Levin, Minnie Levine, Murray Bermelstein, Estelle May Merwitzer, Lily Scancerlo, Abraham Schoenwald, Blanche Lottie Smith, Sam Lewis Smith, Kathleen Verblow, Eleanor Weiss, and Ruth Zazulia. We think of those people and all the people who you held in your hearts or have listed in chat as we turn to page 598, and those who are able to rise as we recite Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash Shemei Rabbah, ve'almad divra krute, v'yimlich malchute, v'chayechon uv'yamecha, uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, v'agalav uv'zman karif, v'yimru. Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevarach, La'elam Olmei Almaya, Yitbarach B'yishtabach, B'yitramam B'yitnaseh, V'yit Hadar, V'yit Haleh, V'yit Halal, Shmei Kudashu, Baruch Hu, Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata, Tushbachata V'nechemata, Damiran Be'alma, B'yimru. Amen. Yehei Shlomo Rabbah Min Shemaya, V'chayim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, B'yimru. Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, V'yimru. Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel. And we all say, Amen.
Amen.
Join us for Oseh Shalom, a little rock and roll version. Oseh Shalom b'mromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu. Oseh Shalom b'mromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu. Oseh Shalom b'mromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu. Ya'aseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Oseh Shalom b'mromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu. Oseh Shalom b'mromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu. Oseh Shalom b'mromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu. Ya'aseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Yeah, that was great. Let's join together as we sing Kiddush, and join me, please. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pari hagafen Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon ihilanu zikaron lamase Bereshit ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh zecher litziat Mitzrayim kivanu bacharta beotanu kidashta mikol hami beshabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu baruch atah Adonai Mekadeh HaShabbat. So as we get ready to display our chalot and to share them, to see that it comes in a bag, challah comes in a bag, it works just fine. For those of you who bake them, make them, and take all of that time and effort, you are amazing human beings and worthy of praise. But for the rest of us who just go to the market, it works just fine. So the Bothasts, the Gervin family I see holding challahs. The Bothast got the bag. I love it. Who else has got challahs? Carl's got his behind him. Who else do I see with a challah? The Kramers, is that a challah behind you in your hand, Colette? Nope, maybe not. There, the Weintraubs have one. And
the Haynes.
The Haynes have one. Terrific. Thank you for that. I don't know that I missed anybody at that point, but let's join together. Thank you all for coming and joining with us tonight. Let's join together in Motzi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Unmute yourselves.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat
Shabbat
shalom.
We love you,
Yeah, I can hear you.
Where's our have a bite of challah for Papa.
Yep, Randy. Bruce and Lynn, happy birthday.
It's
a beautiful challah. Show it again.
Shabbat shalom.
They need a little peace.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everybody. Bye-bye.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Say Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Hi, Carol.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Thank you.
Shalom, shalom.
See you next week.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Can I press the web button?
But it's evening day.
Once we sign off, everybody's finished.
Shabbat shalom. Arrivederci.
Bye.
Have a
Shabbat shalom.
company mess.
Shabbat shalom. Hi, John.